Hello and welcome to Digital Learning Day 2019. My name is Corinne Kelly and I'm here to talk to you today about CS First, which is Google's coding curriculum. I'm really excited to talk to you about this today because I think that it's a great curriculum and a great opportunity for those of us trying to integrate coding into our instruction to make that a really simple and easy process. There is going to be a live Q&A if you're watching this program live that you can access by following that link that's up on your screen right now. So if you just go to goo.gl/uppercase Q, lowercase r, K, Q, uppercase X, lowercase f, that is case sensitive, that'll take you into the document. And if you type any of your questions throughout the program into that document, we'll be sure to get those answered for you as soon as possible and during the program. Okay? All right, so if you haven't already been to CS First and checked this out, it's really a really nice program. So just give you a real brief overview. This is kind of intended for intermediate grades through early high school. But honestly, I think it's a great jumping off point for anyone that's getting started with coding. So even if you have students in those upper grades, if they don't have any coding experience or you're just wanting to kind of expand on the basics of what they have, I don't see any reason why you can't use this program, okay? So it is designed to be simple. It's very easy to use. The interface is very intuitive. Every single instruction or material that you would need will be provided to you. There's no need for you to write lesson plans. There are lesson plans written for you that you can access. Also, any materials that you would need, you can either download and print those yourself, or you can actually request those. I'll be showing you what those look like here in just a little bit. And there's no need for you as the instructor to learn to code. I know that teaching coding can feel really daunting. As educators, we want to have all the answers for our students. We want to feel like we're kind of an authority on a topic before we teach it. That's not how this is set up. You don't have to have a degree in computer programming to use this with your kids. It's actually set up that it's going to hold their hand every single step of the way and teach them to kind of problem solve for themselves and work together on things. So if you don't feel like that you are a master coder, that's totally fine. That's no reason to not use this program. You can actually learn along with the kids. It'll be really fun, okay? Teachers are going to be the facilitators. So you're going to be setting up these clubs, as they're called. You're going to be choosing the theme. You're going to be helping the kids get logged in. Maybe do a little troubleshooting, but you are not going to have to be writing code during this or designing the program or anything like that. So you're just there to help and kind of facilitate, and the kids are there to create. And there's a lot of really fun activities and programs that your kids are going to get to access via CS First. So we're just going to go ahead and head over to CS First. So it's CS First, computer science first.withgoogle.com. Okay, and when you first come in here, there's kind of an overview. So if you want to get more ideas about what this is exactly, more about the different themes and things like that, you can kind of come down here and see what's going on. You would sign in up here, okay? So there's a sign in. The students, actually, there's a little link right here. I don't know if you can see my little Android. You can click right there, and that's where the students would go when they go to sign in, okay? Now, one thing that's kind of funky, let me go ahead and click the sign in for me, for a teacher. I'm going to choose here. I guess the kids could click there too, actually. I'm going to click, I'm a teacher. I get to sign in with my Google account. So we have that single sign-on option here. There we go. Okay. Whereas the kids are actually going to have a CS First account that they're going to create. Okay. And what that allows is that your kids don't have to have Google accounts to utilize this. Okay. So it's kind of a headache for those of us that do have Google accounts. It would be a little easier, obviously, if our kids could just sign in with the Google accounts that they already have. But This is intended to be really inclusive, so that's kind of part of the reason why the kids are just going to have CS First accounts. Now, if your kids happen to forget their CS First account, not a big deal. They just create another one. Okay, but if you order the materials like I'm going to talk about in just a little bit, you will see that there's places for you to keep track of all that information in those materials. Okay, so when you come in here, you're going to start or create classes. Okay, so if I go into start a new class, and I've got my location in here. When you first log in, it's going to walk you through, where are you located? Tell us about your school. Tell us about your kids. You'll put all that information in. Okay? Then when you're ready to create that first class, I'm going to get out of the way here. When you're ready to create that first class, you're going to choose a theme. And these are actually not organized by difficulty level. So if you look at them, storytelling, for example, is an easier theme. Fashion, design, art are both moderate. There's a sports one that's challenging. There's a couple challenging ones in here. And then there's also some little short ones as well, okay? And those are sample activities. If you were looking for an activity for like an hour of code or just a really brief introduction, these would be great, these little sample activities. I actually just added a new one. So they have things like the unusual discovery is new. There's animate a name, create your own Google logo. And we'll look at one of those here in a little bit just to demo it. But you're going to choose a theme. Let me just choose. Let's do music and sound. Okay. So you'll choose this theme, and it's going to load, and then it's going to ask me to provide a little bit more information. So it wants you to choose the first day of your class. You really, if you want to get the full experience and take advantage of everything that CS First has to offer, you really do want to allow yourself a little leeway as far as when you're starting this. So, give yourself at least 3 weeks before you start this. I'm going to save the date. You have the option to set a detailed schedule, say from this day to this day. Exactly, but otherwise you just select the first day and then you can kind of not be constricted to those parameters. Make sure the time zone's right. If it's correct in your Google account, it should be right. And then you can choose if you want to have materials shipped to you. So if you say yes, if you say yes, this is where you really have to have at least 3 weeks out, okay? And I am actually going to show you some materials. Okay, so I've already requested these. So when you request materials, you get 30. So what that means is if you want to, if you want to have more than 30 kids in a club, I would suggest you break that club into groups and request and make a separate class for each one of those groups, and then you would request materials for each group because they will only send you 30 per set. These are completely free, okay? But they will only send you 30 at a time. So this one is for the storytelling theme. So you'll get this passport. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit here. Okay, in here, all right. And you get a passport for each kid. It's bound back there. Okay, and that's where the kids will put their name, their school, their username, and their password. It actually gives them their information, how to get there, all that good stuff, okay? And then for each activity, they can make some notes, okay, about their activity for that day. It talks about the things that they learned. It's got some other information in here, real simple, okay? And then at the end, they get their little badge. And you can sign that once they've completed it. You might have kids that finish ahead of other kids, so then you can just sign it as you go. Now you might see this place badge here. Okay, those badges are also included. Let's see if I can find those. There we go. Okay, so there are little stickers in here. And these are so nice. Badging is really, it's been around for a while, but it's gaining steam again. It's getting to be pretty popular. So the kids will think this is cool, and they kind of get a badge for each activity. It's labeled, activity 8, activity 7. There's your roster if you want to keep track of stuff too. It's all labeled. If you choose to download the materials and print them yourself, I will tell you that I haven't had great success in printing those badges, even if you use the, even if you were to use the labels that are suggested. It did not go well for us, okay? The other thing you're going to get here, here's all your solution sheets. It's actually a nice, pretty thick booklet. So for every activity, the solutions are in here. So if your kids really get stuck, I'm going to come back to you now. If your kids really get stuck on something, you have this. Again, all of this is available online. I can show you where to get that online as well, but they will send that to you in a physical book. So if you can request the materials, I think that's a great option. Just remember, you only get 30, okay? All right. Now, once you set up your club, I'm going to get out of this because I'm not actually going to set this one up. Let me go to my classes here. Okay, so once that class or club is set up, you're going to see there your class code is there. That's how the kids are going to join. So when they go to that URL or they click that login button, they're going to join via code. Let me open it up. Okay. Here we go. And then once you've created that class, you've gone through all the steps, then you'll have that little dashboard here under My Classes. So you can access your notifications. It'll let you know what's going on in your class. There's some setup, and lets you know if you've done all the steps. Materials. This is where you can get the materials for the theme that you've selected. Okay, if you wanted to download them. And they actually have some interactive ones too. Here, there's a timer that you can utilize and a showcase selector. This is for the art theme. And there's your solution sheets, or you can click view all materials here. All the student videos are there as well. Okay, so that's pretty nice. And then your student stats. Let me get into a class. I've got some kids in. Just a second. Sometimes it can be a little slow. Let me see. There we go. So once you have kids join, you're going to be able to see who they are, their username. You can actually see their passwords here. So you can see what their passwords are. You can see the projects they've created and how far they've gotten into those. And it gives you all this information. So once they're in, you can access all of this great stuff. Okay? All right. I'm going to go up here. So I'm going to go all the way up to the top. So all the way to the top of the screen, I've got my profile, I've got my classes. There's a link to curriculum. Okay? And that's where you can access all the activities. We're going to come right back to that. Once you get into curriculum, there's an activities and badges drop down that appears. We didn't see that before. That appears. So I'm in storytelling right now. You can change over here, and then it's got a list of activities, so you can really quickly navigate to those different activities. And then there's this nice teacher support section with training, all the standards alignments. Look at all these videos for us to use, short little videos, okay? So it's all there. They're giving you every single thing that you need for this program. So I want to show you some of these activities, or at least one of these activities. So I'm going to go into the Create Your Own Google logo. Now these are the sample activities, which again are designed to take about an hour. If this is the first time your kids are coming in here, it's probably going to take longer than an hour. If it's the first time they ever coded and they've ever been in Scratch, which is what all of these activities are based in, they're all based in Scratch, it might take a little longer. Or if you have kids that are really into it and they're spending a lot of time making decisions and customizing things, it might take a little longer. So you know your kids, and you'll kind of see once you first get them in there how that's going, and you can kind of figure out if these are really going to take an hour. But Google says they take an hour. Okay. So I'm going to go into this create your own Google logo. Get out of the way here. So this is very, very short, but there's a couple things you can see here. Okay, this one only has 3 steps. We're going to create our own Google logo. There's a survey about it, and then there's a wrap-up where you can share. Obviously, there's a lot more steps if you are in those more lengthy themes. Okay, those are designs. A lot of the themes have like 8 activities or so. Up here, I can switch to materials. That's everything that I would need as an instructor for my kids, even for these little short ones. So let's look at this lesson plan. It's a Google Doc. So it's a complete lesson plan. These are going to be perfect for this time of year. Every single thing you need to know in here for a lesson plan. So again, you don't have to write any of those. Okay. All right. So let me go into activities. I'm going to click on this. Oh, one other thing I want to mention here. Do you see this little Google Classroom icon? I can push this right to Classroom from here, and that's going to also be the same for all the other themes and all the other activities. So I'm going to go into create your own Google logo. Okay. Now this is the best part about CS First. Every single step has an instructional video. And every option, because in this case there's actually going to be a lot of options in here. Every option has an instructional video. So if your kids want to do something, they can absolutely do that. Over here and to the right are the instructions, and then there's the starter project. I'm going to click on that. It'll take a second. Okay. Now, if your kids want to save this, which they probably will, you're going to want them to join Scratch. That's free, not a big deal, but you're going to want them to be able to sign in and join Scratch. Okay. All right. So they've got everything all set up in here. So for this one, we're creating our own Google logo. So each one of the letters in Google is a sprite in Scratch, which is kind of like a character. And Google has actually gone ahead and given them costumes, so you can change the look of each of those characters or letters in here. Those of you that have been in Scratch before and are thinking, this doesn't look right, this is the updated version. This is 3.0, so they are working, hopefully they're all in 3.0 now, but since 3.0 rolled out this year, 2019, that's what all of these are going to be in. Okay. All right, so I've got G selected here. If I go over to the left, I'm currently looking at the code, things I can have the G do. Then there's costumes and there's sounds. So if I click on costumes, I can see all of the different, not great, costumes for my letter G. Some of them look more like G and some of them look less like G. But anyway, okay, so I can do that. I can change what it looks like. And then if I scroll down, they have what they call add-ons. So these are all different things that I can have my letters do. Okay, I can have them change color. I can have it draw the letter. I can have it chase. So if I want it to do something, like change the color.
Logos can be even more engaging when people can interact with them. In this video, you will make your logo interactive by changing letter colors when a key is pressed.
There's a video
to start,
for that. So you would watch that video, and there is a transcript for the video. Okay. Event menu, drag out. When key press block and attach to change the color effect of the block. So we would come over to events over here in yellow. When did she say? When key press and chat, attach it to the change the effect. Okay, press spacebar. Okay, I did not see the change color. There it is down here. Okay, we will find it. So there's a change color block, somewhere in here. Looks. There it is. It's under looks. So right now it says when space key press, change color effect by, change color, 25. So I don't know if you can see, he's changing a little bit. Right? There, now he's green. So it's going to change every time I press to a different color. Pretty cool, huh? Now if I had just come in here and tried to do this myself and had no background with Scratch, that would have been really hard for me to do. But everything's there in those videos, okay? All right. Now I know you guys are probably wondering, am I going to get credit for this? She hasn't said anything about that. You are going to get credit if you'd like some CEUs, some contact hours rather, for this. Let me just pull something up and then we'll come back to Scratch for a minute. Okay. If you are wanting contact hours, if you're wanting a certificate for this program, you're going to need the certificate code. And the code for this program is TCF5. So that has to be in all caps. Make sure that you type that in all caps. The instructions will be provided for that as well on our page for Digital Learning Day. But again, TCF5 for the certificate for this particular program. All right, let's head back to Scratch. Okay, so there's all of these great things that you're able to do in here. Go back a little bit. All right. There were also different versions of this particular one. If you go into the digital materials and the lesson plans, it talked a little bit about it, talked about the activities, but they have content for this one in here for just the regular Google logo, but there's also Valentine's Day letters that go with the costumes for your sprites and Earth Day ones. So if you wanted to have kind of an activity for one of those holidays that are going to be coming up, since it's January when we're making this video, then that would be a perfect opportunity to do that right within here. Okay. Another thing that is really nice, I should mention this, there is a little bit of collaboration in here. Okay, so you can come up and they encourage you to include like a community board where kids can kind of leave notes and kind of share things that are going on, give feedback to each other. This is, is designed to be a really interactive, collaborative process, not something that's silent where each kid's on their computer working on their thing and not seeing what others are doing, talking about what they're doing. So you really want to encourage kids if they're doing something really cool or something they're excited about to share. And if they're too shy to share out loud in class, the community board is a great place for them to do that as well. When they're done, if they've created that Scratch account, they can save that in Scratch and they can share it. They can come back to it and edit later. They can duplicate it and play with it. Or they can always come in and make a brand new one by opening up this activity again. All right. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully anyone that has questions has typed those in the doc. I'll be in the doc for a couple more minutes after this airs before we have our next program. I hope that you are excited about utilizing CS First in your classes and that you're going to start coding today. Thanks so much, and we'll see you hopefully in the next program.